Once again, inflation cooled in September, but just by a little bit. Now, the thing is, that's not really the story. The story is, will today's brand new report change the Federal Reserve's mind about continuing to cut interest rates next month? So I'm going to talk all about that in this video. And before you start commenting, these decreases in inflation are fake, or my personal favorite, where? Please watch the video first. Inflation decreasing does not necessarily mean that prices are decreasing. It just means the rate of price increases is slowing down. Also, even if you choose to believe these numbers are fake, which is absolutely your choice, you should pay attention to them because the Federal Reserve doesn't think they're fake. And these are the actual numbers that they use to determine whether to raise or cut your interest rates. So let's talk about those numbers. The Consumer Price Index for the month of September found the average index for all items was 2.4% higher between September 2024 and September of 2023. So why do I keep saying it fell? Because that number fell from August when the same average number was 2.5%. See, I told you it was just a little bit. Now, the reason why the inflation gauge didn't go down more was primarily because of the index for food and shelter. Both of those things went up month over month and year over year. Obviously, food and shelter impacts your everyday life, and the fact that those two indexes are not going down is probably one of the reasons why you don't feel like inflation is easing. The index for shelter increased almost 5% between September of 2024 and September of 2023, and it increased 0.2% between August of 2024 and September of 2024. And the index for food increased more than 2% year over year and 0.2% month over month. Of course, there are tons of other items in this report that decreased, and if you want to see them for yourself, I will email this report out to you tonight in my News Girl News Roundup email, so make sure you sign yourself up. So the big question is, what does this report mean for interest rates? Well, as I have told you repeatedly, the Federal Reserve uses reports like this one and like that blockbuster jobs report I told you all about in this video last week to make their decision about interest rates. Cutting interest rates too much right now may run the risk of allowing inflation to spike back up, and waiting too long to cut interest rates may run the risk of causing a recession. See, it's a balancing act. So last week's super strong jobs report will likely ease the Federal Reserve's fears that these high interest rates were hurting the jobs market. And today's report will show, yeah, inflation is definitely moving towards the Federal Reserve's 2% inflation goal, which is what they want to see. But is it cooling enough to justify another interest rate cut? Most economists and officials within the Federal Reserve believe that another rate cut is definitely still on the table. We will know for sure when the Fed meets and makes their announcement on November 7th.